want to go down this little rabbit hole of people regretting their reassignment surgery.
I really regret this. It's not normal. It's not okay.
My name is Courtney Coulson, a female to male to female detransitioner, and on this channel we try to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. And this episode is...
If any problems with the surgery, if you're not happy with yourself after having it, you're not supposed to talk about it because it makes all of us look bad. And I didn't want to be that person.
So many things that people go through that make them make the decisions that they make. It's just how it is.
You're never too far gone to return to who you are.
I think it's a good thing to admit that you made a mistake if you feel like you made a mistake. But if you feel like you didn't make a mistake and you're like, yes, I'm so happy that I decided to flip. I'm so happy that I transitioned. I am now, what I wanted to be, then embrace that too if, you feel the need to do so. But I think if you make a mistake and you're like, oh my gosh, no, I need to go back. Like, why did I do this? I don't think that should be shunned.
Never going to get my penis back. It's gone forever. There's no way to reverse course.
I think we're a lot more resilient than we realize. So, yeah, that's my opinion.
I know that's right.
Because it's the juice. And if you don't have the juice, you don't have it. So if you don't have the juice, you can't capitalize.
Fill the room with the juice. That's a lot of loot. That bit fire. Yeah, she kinda...
Welcome back to the Chan. I feel like when I say Chan, I'm in a good mood. Okay, before we hop into today's video, because one, controversial topic, so I'm already getting ready for everybody to assume I'm on a certain side, right? But before we do that, I just finished Black Mirror. Why is Black Mirror so good? Honestly, okay, the third episode, it was so good that I had to stop. I actually was crying. I was just bawling because I can't imagine my husband or my wife dying, whether the gender, don't care. Can't imagine it because it's just like that's the person that you decided to, share your life with. So it's just like, oh my God. But anyways, just finished that last episode and it's really interesting how there's so many TV shows, kind of like Lucifer, that kind of make you feel either sympathy for the devil or you see their perspective in a different way, especially if you were raised religious. Raise your hand. Okay, if you were raised religious and you just know like the devil's bad, demons horrible, like these are the type of shows / episodes, the last episode of Black Mirror, that will just have you like, oh my gosh. Like when he said, yeah, this person deserves to die, I was like, wait a minute, what? And then when he showed what he was doing to his daughter, what's really scary? Before we hop in here, do you know how scary it would be to have a child with somebody and find out that they really just wanted to have a child so that they could touch that child behind your back? I can't even imagine the level of rage. I can't imagine the level of deception, betrayal, anger. I cannot fathom that. And it's like, even as a mother, it's like, how do you not know? How can you not see? How do you not realize? You know what I mean? Like there's so many things you have to look at. But then again, there's so many people out there that are just straight con women, just people just out here lying, doing the most, juggling multiple people, just extra. Why are you doing all that? It's really not that necessary. And I think when you know yourself, you just don't feel the need to do stuff like that because it's just like, why would I lie? Why would I act a different way when I know exactly who I am? I know exactly what I want. But there's some people out there that they don't even know. They're just walking around just hurting people because they were hurt, causing pain because they're in pain. And it's just like, dang, sad. I feel like when I think about my last relationship and the reason why I decided to stay single for so long is because I knew how much pain I was in and I didn't want to go around causing pain to all these other people. You know what I mean? So I just always wanted to keep things light, but also with the same shadow side of, oh, you don't commit. Oh, you're guarded. Oh, you're not vulnerable. And yes, these are very valid things. I'm not going to lie. I don't necessarily let everybody in, but when I do let them in, it always ends up being a battle. It always ends up being is this real? Are you lying? I feel like you're guarded. And it's just like, honey, just because my openness is at 10, and if you haven't taken that personality test, please do so that you know what your openness is. Because my openness is at 10, I think people believe that, I'm stupid or they can take my kindness for weakness, when in reality, it's just like, baby, I'm playing the game just like you're playing the game. Like, please do not get it twisted over here. I'm just not scared and shy to talk about things I've gone through, things that have happened to me, whereas other people are just so guarded and they just want to, come off as if they're like the strongest person in the world. And none of us are. We all have pain. We all go through things that are confusing. Confirmation. We all go through things that just, don't make sense, you know, once you're at the end of the road. And that is why we're doing this video today, because I did see this video circulating and people talking about it, and obviously people being rude about it, some people being nice about it. And when I first started the video, meaning on Instagram, when I first saw it, I was like, this man is so fine. Who is this? And then when he starts talking, I'm like, wait, he transitioned into a man? I was like, whoa. I can't even keep up. Some of them just look so good, just like Blair White. I just feel like, you know, they look so good in their transition. But another thing I wanted to say is, you know how I watch a lot of those, near-death experience videos? If you're new here, I watch a lot of those videos. And there was one that I saw, I think maybe like 5 months ago. It was a long time ago. And it was this man that died. And basically, he said that God is woman and man, that God does not have a certain gender, as if people, you know, people always say him, he, whatever, but in reality God embodies both genders and both masculine and feminine energy. And I just felt that to be very interesting, because for me, I feel like we should have a balance of both, but other people are very much like, no, I need to meet my masculine energy, or no, I need to meet my feminine energy, whatever, and they want to pick and decide. But I feel like even as a man, you should have a very healthy level of femininity, and as a woman, you should have a healthy level of masculinity. I don't see why that's a big deal. Can somebody tell me if I'm wrong? Can somebody tell me if that's wrong? Please, I will wait and I will read the comments, because I really am curious. Anyways, so what we're going to do here is I want to go down this little rabbit hole of people regretting their reassignment surgery and see what they say, what they think shouldn't or should have happened. Because again, I don't know what this experience would be like. I have no idea. But this is the one that's circulating. So we're going to watch this one first. And like I said, this man is attractive. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I think he's an attractive man. I want to see what he looked like as a woman, honestly. You know?
Nobody told me how lonely being a man is. I had closer friendships with random women I met in the bathroom before I transitioned at clubs because of how open women are.
I can see a man's life being extremely lonely. Absolutely. Again, that's why I talk about men's mental health, because it's a pretty lonely life. I mean, think about the men that never get married, the men that get married, I don't know, 4 times and they all get cheated on, you know? Like, there's all kinds of stuff that's going on out there.
Than I've had in my 8 years of transitioning. Because women are just so much more vulnerable and deep than men. But to have known, and I think a lot of trans men feel this, is we knew what that felt like before we transitioned. We knew what it felt like to like have people want to hug us. And have people want to talk to us. And have a community. And then you transition and you're just a guy walking down the street that people cross the street so that they're not near you. And
when I heard him say that, I was thinking of America, because I feel like in the UK, especially Europe, like men are they're like cheerleaders for themselves, you know, like I see them all out together. They're just like, you know, they're hugging each other, like they're so loving on each other in the UK and in Europe. But in America, I don't necessarily see that as much, but I feel like in Europe, I really do see men like really like they're just so, I don't know how to explain it. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying.
Friendships are so much harder to build and people are colder. And what's hard is none of this invalidates how real and raw women and people who are in marginalized groups feel about cis white men. All of that's valid. But I also now understand why the suicide rate is so much higher in men.
Let me ask you a question. How do you feel about the word cis? How do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? That's all I'm going to say. How do you feel about it? Thank you.
Because this shit is lonely. And I'm an emotionally mature man. I know how to build friendships, and it is still really, really hard. Try to think about how you can, in your small little community where you feel safe, can reach out to the men in your life and just help them feel maybe seen for a moment. Or do little conversations to help their emotional maturity so that they can reach out to people and have deeper guy friendships.
Interesting. I feel like more men should cry, you know? I really do. I know there's some men out there that are like, he's a little bee. Whatever, you know, but I truly believe a lot of men need to cry. Just let it out, you know? And it's not like you know, you're less as a man. It's just like we all have emotions as a human being. It does not, like for me, I don't see it as, oh, well, I'm a man, so I can't cry, and oh, I'm a woman, so I can't be strong. Like I don't see it that way, but I understand why we have obviously been indoctrinated to think that, you know what I mean? But anyways, so next video, transitioning 7 months in. Let's see.
Hi. Last time I filmed a video in my car like this, I came on and talked about how I felt like I was too far gone. I didn't say that my life was over, but I thought that because of medical transition, that I had sentenced myself to living life as a pseudo-mediocre man. And that was just the fate that I had, talking about the long-term effects of testosterone. Update since then. At the time, in early October, I was still on testosterone, and in late October, I decided to stop cold turkey. And so it's been a little over 7 months since then. And I've noticed some changes. I've noticed behavioral changes in terms of how I process things, how I process emotions.
Aren't you not allowed to go cold
It's kind of
turkey
stereotypical,
like
but
that?
it's true. Testosterone does have an impact on my brain and how I process things. Physical changes as well, body fat redistribution, hormone levels, all that stuff. But largely speaking, most of the changes are permanent. And that's fine. I've come to a point of acceptance with the current circumstances. My voice is this way. It's going to stay this way. My hairline, obviously I'm growing my hair out. I kept buzzing it until about January-ish. And then I was like, okay, we're going to try and grow it out and see what happens. And I'm trying some naturopathic stuff. But, my hairline is still receded. It's not coming back. Hopefully it's better, especially as it grows longer. But a lot of the changes are permanent. And also, I had a double.
Wait, so it started receding? Was it receding because of the testosterone? Or is that just a part of the... You guys, I don't know. So please, educate me. Educate me in the comments.
Mastectomy. I had a double mastectomy, and I'm obviously, my breasts are not going to grow back. That's just not going to happen. I had laser on my face, but, I still have permanent body hair growth. I still have permanent hair loss, permanent voice deepening, permanent changes everywhere.
But can't he get, like, a boob job if he wanted to get a boob job? Like, if he wanted to go back? Couldn't he just get a boob job? I mean, his actual boobs wouldn't come back. But couldn't he do that? Or no? I'm honestly just curious.
And I thought that it was a death sentence for me. And I didn't want to be here after I figured out what I did to myself and what the medical establishment allowed me to do. And I struggled for months. I really did. So why am I logging on now? On a new account where I didn't want to bring too much attention to myself. People have found it helpful when I speak. I don't know why. I guess they just like what I have to say, or maybe my perspective. But I think the biggest thing that I want to say is that based on where I was at
perspective is interesting
versus where I'm at now, when I filmed that video, I thought there was no hope for me. And now, several months later, I don't know what happened. Sometime in late April, I think a switch flipped for me. Because I cried for months. I was grieving for months. I was mad. I was angry. I didn't want to be here. I kept trying to hang on because I knew it wasn't an option to kill myself. I mean, it is an option, but it wasn't realistically an option. I have a purpose. Just don't know what it is yet. I know I don't want to live, but I have to keep going. But something flipped in late April for me. I don't know what it was. And now I do want to keep going. And I'm coping with the changes. And I'm coping with, being perceived ambiguously in society because I'm a conglomeration of secondary sex characteristics, some of which are natural and some of which are artificially induced. But I'm coping. Is it easy? No, it's not. But I'm able to move forward, and I am moving forward, and I've accepted that this is just the reality of things, but it also doesn't have to sentence me to a certain way of living forever. I can still do something great with my life, and I can still move on. And, I don't have to let these changes dictate how I live my life forever. And I think I'm beginning to heal, which is not something that I thought even a couple months ago I could say. So I guess what I'm trying to say is mainly for people who think that they are trans or that they regret things or that they're too far gone and they just can't go back. You're never too far gone to return to who you are.
I think it's a good thing to admit that you made a mistake if you feel like you made a mistake. But if you feel like you didn't make a mistake and you're like, yes, I'm so happy that I decided to flip. I'm so happy that I transitioned. I am now, what I wanted to be, then embrace that too if, you feel the need to do so. But I think if you make a mistake and you're like, oh my gosh, no, I need to go back. Like, why did I do this? I don't think that should be shunned. I think it's kind of weird for that to be shunned because and I don't mean to compare it to this, but like let's say you have like a bisexual period or maybe even like a gay period, but then you're like, you know what, actually I'm straight, or you decide to go back to being a lesbian or whatever it is. I don't think it should be like you're a terrible person because you can't make a decision. It's just like, everybody has their own path and everybody's living their own lives. But what I'm seeing is a very huge divide right now. And I think that's just becoming bigger and bigger because of the P word coming into the LGBTQ community. And obviously there's a lot of people that have evidence to, back that up. And that's very much there. But I don't think every single one is out there like, yes, I'm coming for your children. You know what I mean? But because the divide is so strong, it's almost like we can't even see that balance because so many people don't even want to hear it. They just want to see it stop. A lot of people just want to see it stop. But at the same time, it's like, hey, we don't know what these people have gone through. You know what I mean? There's so many things that people go through that make them make the decisions that they make. Point blank period. That's just how it is on every single gender, every single sexuality, in my opinion.
Different for anybody. But it's not bad to question things. It's not bad to look at why you decided to transition in the first place.
Bingo.
And it's never too late to take a step back from things. And don't let anybody dictate that timeline for you. You've got to do it on your own time. But I guess the whole point of this is that I want to tell anybody that is in the throes of regret, in the throes of grief, is questioning where they're at with things, that it does get better. I don't think this should have happened. I don't want this to keep happening to other kids and vulnerable young adults such as myself. But my life is not over because of it, and I think we're a lot more resilient than we realize. So, yeah, that's my update.
I know that's
I'm here,
right.
And I stopped talking for a bit, but I think I'm going to start talking again and see where it goes. And I hope that this helps somebody, at the very least. That, we can grow, we can move on from this. So, that's it. Thank you for listening.
You're welcome. Okay. Because, there's some people that don't even want to hear it. They just don't even want to hear it. And I think it's a tricky situation because some people just don't want to care. They're writing it off as the devil. They're writing it off as, and I get that. But, sometimes let's try to take a step back and see what's really going on. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like there's so many different sectors. There's so many different ways to really chop this up, if you will, because I feel like there's so much going on.
My name is Courtney Coulson, a female to male to female detransitioner, and on this channel we try to...
Female to male to female. Is that what she said? Let me go back. I'm sorry.
My name is Courtney Coulson, a female to male detransitioner, and on this channel we try to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. And this episode is going to be a really quick one about surgery, specifically trans surgery, and something I had never thought about until now.
Okay.
So yesterday I spent most of the afternoon in hospital.
Can we just say she's beautiful? This woman is beautiful. She's gorgeous.
One of the worst experiences of my life, and I didn't even have a serious problem. I felt mostly fine. It's just for about 24 hours, and it's still going on now. I have this headache, and I don't get a lot of headaches, but this is just one that will not go away.
I had a headache on my date. Was it on Saturday? On Saturday. You guys, it was like one of those headaches that like goes away and comes back and goes away and comes back. And it was so weird. And I kept complaining about it. And I hate when I complain because I was trying to ignore it, but it just kept coming back. And it was so weird because I don't get headaches. I rarely get headaches. But this headache just kept coming and going and coming and going. And I almost canceled the date. And I was just thinking man, maybe I should have canceled the date. When you feel like you manifested something and you didn't mean to manifest it because it was like you were thinking negatively and then you manifested something negative, but you didn't mean to. It was like that. It was weird. Anyways, my headache is nothing compared to her headache. I'm just throwing in my little 2 cents here.
And it's particularly bad when I go from lying to sitting or sitting to standing or any combination of those things. And I looked up the Pfizer reactions list on the government website and they said, well, if you've got that symptom, that's considered serious, so call 000. And I did. And they said, well, do I really need an ambulance? And they said, oh, well, we can't give you advice. I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. So the ambulance shows up in about 15 minutes. I was just sitting there watching Glow. Really great show, by the way. Glamorous Ladies of Wrestling. Hadn't got around to it until now. But yes, getting an ambulance for the first time in my life and just chatting with the EMT, I think they're called. And by the way, my favorite Transformer has always been Ratchet, so it was nice to finally be in an ambulance and not in an emergency. That's probably the best case scenario there, although at the time I didn't know how serious my situation was, because apparently it can be a sign of a stroke or aneurysm or any of those things. So at that time I wasn't really having a lot of fun. But we get to the hospital and the first thing they do is,
Just by the way, this video was filmed a year ago. Okay, so pretty bold title there. Trust me, you don't want gender reassignment surgery. Interesting.
Want them sitting in triage, which didn't take too long. Then they bring me into the hospital proper, and they put a cannula in my arm. And that's basically turning you into USB, so they can just, put some saline. Put some, do a blood test, taking things in and out of your body without having to put more and more holes in you. Mm-hmm. And that was horrible. That was the worst part of it. All I could do the whole time was fixating on, there's this thing in my arm. Oh, this is horrible. And it's a teeny tiny little thing. And being in a hospital is really horrible and scary when you're alone. There are no windows. You have no sense of time.
Tell me about it.
There's sick people around you. There's people crying and screaming out in pain. And it's
horrible.
Horrible. And I didn't think about it until that moment that I went, so I was going to get top surgery. I was just going to get my tits cut off. What did you think that was going to happen afterwards, Courtney/Connor? It would have been an awful experience. The recovery, they really downplay that. The trans community acts like it's no big deal. Oh, you just go and get bits cut off and sewn on and what have you. And there's a recovery period. No, they have drains in you. They have all sorts of things going in and out of your body. And then there's the revisions. And here I am feeling absolutely nauseated and miserable with a little cannula in my arm. That would be the least of my issues if I had gotten surgery. And that's something I really want to impress upon anyone thinking about it is, unless you absolutely have to be in a hospital, unless you absolutely have to have a non-elective surgical procedure, why would you do that? It is just awful. So they did all the other tests, and I'm totally fine. I had a CT scan, which I was barely even aware I was getting that done. I don't know what, maybe it was a part of the...
I remember it used to be, you know, like, what was it back in the day? Y'all, I used to be in the gay clubs all the time. I used to go to a lot of drag shows. So, again, if you think I'm on a side, you really don't know me. But anyways, what they used to do was like, I can't remember if it was... You know when your arm was broken and they put that thing around it? I don't know, but they would do something to like suck the titties, like to make them look flatter. And they had like certain clothes that would just like suck them in or whatever. I can't even, I really can't ever remember. But I remember that because there was one time where instead of it being, well, obviously it was a drag show, but instead of it being like a man to a woman, there was a woman that went to a man. And I remember it being so cool because she dressed up like Justin Timberlake. Oh my, it was fire. Like, oh my gosh. Anyways, if you've been to, you know, the neighborhood in Dallas, then you're fully aware. But anyways, it was so cool. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, how did you transition yourself like that? Because she did her makeup was like man makeup. Like it really made her look like a man. And again, this was like back in the day before, you know, transitioning was like, you know, all the rage. It was like when people would just do makeup and, you know, like cosplay and stuff like that. It wasn't necessarily like going into the hospital and injecting things and doing all of that. And I just remember it being so cool. Like it was just so creative. But again, as I'm thinking of this was a very different time. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that would be a really hard decision. That would be a very drastic decision. Like, okay, we're getting rid of the boobs. We're getting rid of the tits. It's over. It's a wrap. It's done. You know, no more lactating. No more baby feeders, whatever you want to call them. That would be tough. Then again, I'm not even in that mindset. I personally would never want to be a man. So I'm not in that mindset. So I don't really know what that would be like to really crave that, you know?
The headache or migraine thing I'm experiencing, but I was just incredibly tired. I've never been that tired in my life. The hours, I was only there for about 2 or 3 hours. They got to me really quickly and did all the tests, but it felt like an eternity because I was just dozing and couldn't keep my eyes open. And I felt like I was in this dream state and nothing felt real, especially the CT scan. I'm inside of a robot or some shit. And they put the iodine injection into a USB port and it floods through your body and it feels like it's going down, like you're going to pee. And I was just tripping balls, basically. I just went, am I going to pee? What's going on? I mean, they explained it to me, but it just didn't feel real. It was like a dream where things are just happening with no rhyme or reason. And then I sat out in the waiting area. I started pacing around that space because I just could not keep my eyes open and I didn't know how I was going to get home because I live quite a long way from my family. And they come out and say, blood's all clear, you know, we've done the blood pressure and blood glucose, everything, CT scan's all fine. You seem to just have a headache and it might be a symptom of the Pfizer, maybe not. I've never experienced this before. But on that website I was looking at, it said, about 4 days afterwards you may experience headaches. So I guess that's it. Otherwise, the Pfizer's agreed with me pretty well. I was really tired and had this fever and headache and all of that the night I got the injection. So I got it Saturday.
Doesn't 2020 just feel like yesterday? It's just crazy to me that it's almost 4 years ago. Well, 3 years right now, but almost 4 years ago. But it feels like it was, honestly, I loved that time. I know so many people hated it because we were stuck inside. It was isolation and I want to go out. I want to eat out. I want to travel, all these things, right? But I think that's when I really realized, like, yeah, I am a homebody. I thrive at home. I love being at home. I love it. Yes, I love going out, obviously, but I don't mind being in the house, you know? I really don't. And I think it's because I'm very much involved with making the home feel like, you know, a comfortable space to be. You know what I mean? Like what can I do to make this home a home I never want to leave? That's me right there, you know?
Saturday morning and that night, suddenly hit with this really intense illness. Woke up, fell asleep in about 20 minutes, as I usually do. Woke up, totally fine. Haven't had any issues. And
Still totally
I'm really thankful that I found a GP who was willing to give me a third of a dose as a trial, because I have chronic fatigue syndrome, and a lot of people don't realize that means you basically have an autoimmune condition.
Yeah.
And you can react in very unpredictable ways to any kind of medication or food or perfume or anything. And so in my case, I'm very intolerant to most foods except for meats, eggs, dairy, seafood, all of that. Can have a little bit of tea, a little bit of dark chocolate, a little bit of tomato. You know, I can handle a little bit of some things. I figured out what I can deal with. When it came to a vaccination, I was really nervous because I thought, well, if it's in me and I have a bad reaction, there's no stopping that. You know, it could send me back to being bedbound in a wheelchair. And no one could tell me if it was safe or not. I had a rheumatologist. I waited over a year to see this rheumatologist. And she didn't believe in chronic fatigue syndrome. She didn't think I had it. And she said, I was going to get a Pfizer. Shut up and get the Pfizer. Okay. So a friend's dad is a GP, and he's very interested in chronic fatigue syndrome. And he said, yeah, sure, I'll give you a third of a dose. We'll see how you react. It doesn't count. You don't get a certificate. But we just want to see how your body reacts. I was totally fine. I mean, I was anxious. I was getting all these chest pains and stuff. I'd never had emotions before. So I think a lot of it was just psychological. And I was thinking, oh, God, it's going to kill me. Oh, yeah, so calm down. No, I'm fine. And this headache is not that bad today. Took some painkillers in the morning, but yeah, right now, just done a full day of work. That's why I got me work boots on. And I just, while I was working today, I had this epiphany of, oh my God, if I couldn't handle a cannula, how would I handle surgery? I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So
that's honestly, you know, when people want to do things that are kind of, like, let's say they want to go like rock climbing, but like a real rock, like a mountain. Things like that. The first thing that comes to my mind is I have never broken a bone in my entire life. I don't even know what it would feel like to break a bone. I don't know what it would feel like to have a cast. I don't know what it would feel like to have a cane, let alone a wheelchair. I just would never, and I'm extremely grateful for that, don't get me wrong, but I've just never experienced that. So I always am thinking of like from a safety mindset of like, am I going to be safe here? You know, I don't know how to explain it, but like, for example, when I was on the tube, I was constantly making sure, like, am I going the right way? You know, where do I get off? All these things. Like, I have a very, like, survival set mindset. And sometimes it really holds me back and I hate it. But at the same time, it's because I'm trying to protect my body. I'm trying to protect myself because it's just like I've never been in certain situations where, you know, some people are like, oh, I've broken my arm 3 times. You know, no big deal. It's like, that would be a huge deal for me. It would be a huge deal to even sprain something for me because I've never experienced it.
Basically, let's say is, one, never get surgery unless you absolutely have to. I don't believe in cosmetic surgery. I think it's so bullshit. There's nothing wrong with the way we look. Unless you have an actual disfigurement or a disability that can be corrected with surgery, yeah, I don't see the need.
What do y'all think about that? Do you agree with that? Do you guys agree with that? Because, I don't know, like some days I feel like, yeah, I don't want to get any plastic surgery. I'm good. And then other days I'm like, I would love a nose job. And then other days I'm like, maybe I should get Botox. And then other days I'm just like, why? Calm down.
Oh, my nose is too long. So, that makes you who you are. And second of all, my immune system's doing pretty well with Pfizer. So, your favourite female to male to female detransition should be okay. I shouldn't die of the COVIDs. Fingers crossed. All right, see you, Space Cowboy.
Like that, see you, Space Cowboy. Okay, so the next one is called Why I Regret the Surgery. I'm so curious to know. Because it's like, aren't you set on it, you know?
So this might be the hardest video I'll ever have to make. I know that people are going to get mad at me for this video, but honestly, I want to tell the truth. I've sat on this for 10 years. It's been 10 years since I've had this surgery. And I didn't want people to know. There's this expectation of...
What surgery? Now I'm really curious. Okay, this has inspired me to detransition. I am no longer a trans woman. I'm a cis woman. Thank you. I'm so glad we're talking about this. Testosterone has done horrible things to my body. My voice will never go back to that child voice. Wow, that Matt Walsh loves. I've been forever forced to be comfortable with my voice. Detransitioning from trans woman to cis woman is probably Blair White's biggest dream. Once you said sorry to Matt Walsh, I knew what was happening. As a straight man, this inspired me to transition to a happy straight man. I'm screaming. This video has real every 60 seconds in Africa, a minute passes energy. Screaming. You gave me the strength to come out as a detransitioner. I was a cis man to this day, but from now on, I'm a cis man, and I've never been more miserable. Thank you. I am... You know why? My apologies. The reason I'm confused is because she looks like a woman. So I'm assuming she's what is it? Woman to male, male to woman, right? Right? Tell me if I'm doing this right.
In the trans community, that if you have any problems with the surgery, if you're not happy with yourself after having it, you're not supposed to talk about it because it makes all of us look bad. And I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to get dragged by my own community for telling the truth about the situation. In this video, I'm going to tell you all why I regret having the surgery. I've never talked about this before, and this is going to be one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my entire life. Before I get into it, I need to apologize.
She's gorgeous.
I need to apologize to all the people that I've lashed out at because they got under my skin rightfully so, because they knew who I was. I think they saw and understood who I was better than I did.
You know, that's one thing I'm really working on is like, I don't have the energy to lash out on people. It's like, I will just end things with love. I will just thank you for the experience. Have a good one. And that's it. Like, I used to really feel like I had to constantly defend myself. And now I'm in this place where I'm just like, I don't even have the energy. Like, I think when you've been hurt so many times, it's just like you just, you're numb to it. It's just like, am I supposed to care right now? I'm sorry. I've been through too much. Tell me if you understand what I'm talking about. When you have gone through so much, it's just like, you can't, it's so hard to care. It's so hard. Like, yes, maybe for 2 days, a day, but then you just get back up and you're like, anyways, I've been through way worse than that. Next.
So, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Matt Walsh. I'm sorry to Libs of TikTok. I'm sorry to all the detransitioners who are just out there trying to tell their truth. It wasn't right of me to lash out at all of you. I understand now why Matt Walsh and Libs of TikTok, Tim Pool, Blair White, why all of those people blocked me on Twitter, because they thought I couldn't be helped. But I think this changes now. I was 18 years old when my parents took me to the doctor to have the surgery. All I ever wanted to do was feel like a normal kid. I got bullied a lot, and I didn't think that I could ever really be a man. I thought that maybe it would be easier to be a woman because I wouldn't get bullied. I wouldn't get called a sissy boy. And I was wrong. I was completely wrong.
Wow.
And I'm going to regret this for the rest of my life. There's an entire industry around transgender people. Doctors who are making millions of dollars butchering children. It's absolutely disgusting. And I fell prey to them. Once you have the surgery, there's no way to go back. There's no way to reverse the irreversible damage. You're stuck with genitals that are mutilated for the rest of your life. I've been a lifelong patient. I was made a lifelong patient. I've been seeing doctors since I was a child. I'll be on medication for the rest of my life. I really wish that the doctor who performed on my genitals warned me about any of the things that would happen. The irreversible damage that I can never change. I'll never be able to get my life back. And part of the reason that I'm making this video in the first place is because I want to warn people. I want to let you know what happens when you have the surgery, so maybe you won't have the same mistake I did. I was never told when I had the surgery that I would end up having some of the best sex in my life after having it. That I would be completely comfortable with my genitals, as I have for the last 10 years. I never had a doctor sit me down and say, look, Keffals, you're going to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and you'll see yourself for the first time. No one ever warned me that that would be the case. There was no pamphlet or brochure that I read, no consultation with a doctor that told me that after having the surgery, I would be so relieved that I don't have to worry about having a dick and balls in the way of my underwear anymore. And there was never even a peep.
And let's really talk about that. How do you guys feel about the, like the teens and the kids that want this to be available to them? Because I feel like it shouldn't even be 18. I feel like it should be 25. Because when I think about my 18-year-old self, like I swore I was an adult. Swore it and was completely wrong. I was completely wrong. I don't know what I thought. I don't know why I thought it. But, you know, there's just so many different stages to life that you don't even realize you're going to get at. Now, let's say you get to 25 and you're like, all right, yeah, I'm ready to transition. Okay, cool. You are of age. Go ahead. But I don't know about 16, 17, 8. I don't know. I don't know. Because when I think about my experience, I'm just like, I was a child. I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's such a young age. And I understand that kids, especially teens, are growing up way faster than ever at this moment. But I feel like we also grew up fast, you know? I don't know. I just feel like it's a different time. It's a different era. It's a different age. And the way trends work these days is very drastic. It's very, very drastic. At least to me, it's almost irreversible, just depending on what you decide to do. But it's also like, well, are they following a trend or are they following their heart? Are they going with their intuition? Who's to really know? You're not really going to know until you get to a certain point. Oh my gosh, actually, speaking of that, on the episode of Black Mirror, the last one, the devil was talking about the girl that was getting molested by her father. And he said something about she's going to get married at 29, but she's going to be a man at 57. When he said that, I damn near died. I was like, are you serious right now? Are you serious? Honestly, the way they tried to make the devil lovable and likable, that was a little scary too. Was that not scary? Anyways, let's hop back in here.
Not a single conversation about how after the surgery, I would live some of the happiest years of my life. That's something that they should tell people before they do this sort of thing, before they change their body permanently like this. And I really regret this. It's not normal. It's not okay. No one should feel this comfortable with their body. No one should have sex as good as I'm currently having. I want to be like a normal person. I want to hate myself, and I want to have terrible, terrible, terrible sex.
That was funny.
I have one final message to give, but before I do that, I just need to say something. I'm never going to get my penis back. It's gone forever. There's no way to reverse course. But if you subscribe to my channel on YouTube, that's basically like giving me my penis back. If you're considering having the surgery, don't do it. Cancel it now if it's scheduled. And if you're a parent with a trans kid, never let them have that surgery. It will ruin their life. Because no one should feel as good as I currently do about my own body. They need to be like normal kids and grow into miserable adults who hate everything about themselves. There are so many brave activists out there leading the charge against transgender cultists, trying to keep people from making the mistakes that I did, trying to keep people from being happier than they should be allowed to be. And I'm sorry that I was so rude to them because I couldn't look past everything. I knew deep down that I was wrong, but I didn't want to admit it. From now on, I'm going to be taking a stand against gender ideology. Matt Walsh, please unblock me on Twitter. The same goes for you, Blair White. I've changed. I'm going to be a better person. As well, I'm making an announcement. I'm detransitioning. From now on, I am no longer a transgender woman. I am a cisgender woman. I am detransitioning into cisgender. As a proud detransitioner, I'm looking forward to going on the Tucker Carlson show and any other talk show host who will take me to spread the dangers of gender ideology and to make sure that no one is allowed to be happy. I'll never be able to reverse the damage that was done to my body at such a young age. But I know that the money that I'll be given from participating in a panic that is causing trans people to lose their rights at an unprecedented rate and fear for their lives might make...
Unprecedented. You see how that just flew right into her conversation? If you haven't seen my video on the word unprecedented, you may not understand what I'm saying now, but do you see how that just went right into her vocabulary? Like, such unprecedented, like it's word vomit. We are living in some interesting times, are we not?
Me feel better. If there's any ask I have for people who are watching this, please share my story. Share this video. People need to know the truth. So often, the woke media only presents one side of the story, the side that's pro-gender ideology, but they never present stories like my story, people who regret having the surgery. And I think it's about time that people wake up. I'm going to be dedicating the rest of my life to fighting against gender ideology. Every day I look up and look at myself in the mirror, I remember that I'm branded with a mistake, a society that let people go too far. And I want things to change. Thank you all for watching this video. It means a lot to me because I've sat on this for so many years.
Dang.
And I'm so happy to finally be able to tell my truth.
Garments.
Child, that was pretty intense, was it not? Man, I don't know, because there's some, and you guys, you gotta understand, I'm trying to be objective here, you know, we're not trying to be, what is it, what do they call these people? I mean, man, if you just go to the, what is it, Adonis, is it Adonis or Odonis? On Odonis men, just read that comment section. People want these people to be in mental health hospitals. They want them to be arrested. They want them to, you know, just completely be X'd out of society. And I don't have any right to say anything like that. You know what I mean? I don't think any of us do. But I do find it interesting that we do have these cases of some of them just feeling like, how did I get here? How did I get here? How was I pushed into this decision? I thought I was making the right choice, but, you know, in reality, I wasn't. And obviously you have the other perspective of people like, well, duh, God gave you a gender, you strayed away from it, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, at the end of the day, not everybody's going to be religious. Not everybody's going to understand that. Not everybody's going to care to even be on that side of the fence. You know what I mean? So it's just a really interesting topic to me, because after you have done so much, and honestly, this is not cheap stuff here. This is very expensive surgery. And then to realize, you know, this is not what I wanted. This is not who I am. You know, I need to detransition. And then you probably have a whole other sector of people who don't want to say anything because they don't want to look like they were wrong, or they made a mistake, or they're stupid, or whatever it is that they think society is going to say. So then they just don't say anything, and they just stay, you know, in this fake mask of, you know, everything's great, when in reality they may go home and just be bawling like, I hate my body, I hate that I did this to myself, whatever, but they don't have any outlet or anywhere to talk about it. Like, that is just, that's sad, you know? I feel like it should be an open conversation for all, and not in a hateful way, because I feel that we are very much getting to a very hateful point when it comes to this entire community. Now, there is a video, I think it's called A Conversation with the Devil, or the conversation with the devil. I don't even remember, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I think we're gonna do that next because I do want to see the full video. I think I only saw about maybe 15 seconds of it on Instagram, so I will most likely do that next because I am curious to see the details of that, because I mean, again, a lot of us are fighting demons within us that people hide. You know, they act like they're not fighting these demons, right? So I do want to hear that entire conversation, so we'll see what that is like. Anyways, other than that, you guys, I am going to go eat and go to the gym and basically just have another great day, because positive vibes only over here, or at least that's what meditation is really forcing me to do. Meditating every single morning will really just change your life. I'm not even kidding you. It's the way nothing is even bothering me anymore. It's so interesting. Anyways, so I'm going to go do that. Let me know your thoughts on this video. If you are transsexual, if you're a trans woman, trans man, trans, I don't know, Barney, I don't care. Let me know your comments down below in the comment section. I really am curious, and I want to know more about this community and what's going on within it, because I find that there is so much conflict right now. And instead of it being a solution-based conflict, it's definitely becoming a division. It definitely seems divided. And there are some very pissed off people, which some of them are very much warranted to be pissed off. But at the same time, you know, always trying to see things at different perspectives over here. So like I said, let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. We're trying to do longer form content over here, so that's why we're doing it like that, guys, if you're wondering. And of course, if you made it all the way to the end, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know if you're brand new here. Let me know your thoughts on this video. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye.
Put it out the coupe in the lot, 12 for a squat, all the bells out the box, hit the lick.